there's always a lack of satisfaction. And many times people don't realize that the biggest obstacle that you face, and this is interesting because I know what I'm about to say is a huge point of contention. Probably the biggest obstacle that you're going to face in your life is yourself, at least in the Western world. The biggest obstacle, the third world, I think that's another story, but the biggest obstacle that many of us face, probably if you're hearing this probably relates to you. The biggest obstacle that you face in your life is you. Maybe you're satisfied today, but you're going to notice that over time you might lose that satisfaction. This is not meant to scare you. This is just part of just being human. And Paul's answer to that is change your life. Like, how many times it's interesting, like as you get older, it seems that people complain more because things just keep on, the amount of stress and decision making just increases, and many of us didn't develop fast enough or get taught fast enough to deal well with all those new increased responsibilities. And so it's just easy just to feel overwhelmed and then just to complain. I'm not trying to say it's bad to complain because I think there's a healthy aspect to it sometimes when you just need to release some steam. But when that just becomes your mode of operation, and I think that's really this Paulian advice, Pauline meaning Paul, is so simple. He's like, change your life.
Yeah.
Change your life. Like, and I don't think that we hear that enough today. Whether you're Christian or not, or you can relate to that or not, we don't hear that enough. That you need to change your life. Like, I'm not making enough money. Hold on, fair enough. How much are you spending? What are your spending habits? 50% of your money is going towards a car that you can't afford. I don't think that a new job is going to change that because you might just go out and get a new car with that new money that you're making. Statistics constantly show us is like, it's my parents. You might be right. Maybe your parents do need to change. Maybe your kids need to change. But here's a question. You can't change them. So how can you change so that you don't keep on complaining?
Right.
Because here's the reality. What if they don't change?
Yeah.
What if your reality stays the same? You've got a decision. Here's an interesting historical perspective that comes in from Viktor Frankl, the guy who survived Auschwitz and his family didn't. He wrote this book called, not a purpose-driven life. It's I just totally blanked on it. It's The Meaning of Life. I'm pretty sure I butchered that title.
We can put it in the show notes.
Yeah. Something that he wrote is that something that's incredible about being human is between the stimulus of your life, like what happens to you, and your response, how you react to it. In between that, right? There's a space in between this right here. And it's called free will. Like, it's called choice.
Yeah.
You have a choice to choose to do something different. Like, your life could be terrible, but you could choose to do something completely different. Your job could be unfair, but you could choose to grow from that. And by the way, I'm not saying, are you saying stay in this unfair job? Are you saying that I should just condone social injustice? No. I'm just saying as that's being worked on, you need to be worked on. Rather than, that should be everything else needs to change around me because everything else, like, it goes back to that question I just asked. What if things don't change? Will you decide to be free or not? Will you decide to be transformed or not? Here's a really funny story. I was talking to a friend. I was just, we were teasing each other. Between us, there's a lot of camaraderie.
Yeah.
And, I would just make fun of him all the time. But it was in a kind way. We were just having fun. And, man, I was so moved when at some point it just got serious, not because in a bad way, but he said something, he's like, I don't care because I know that I need to change. He's like, I don't care sometimes because, like, I know that my life needs to be transformed, So the fact that we get to make fun of it and actually tease each other and grow together, that's something beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Many of us today, you can't say a word. And it's like, you've just like, you've built like this block cell around you where nothing can penetrate. Even you can't penetrate. Even you're so afraid of the truth. But we hear this all the time. I mean, the scripture talks about it too. It's the truth that will set you free.
Yeah, and Nico, I think about what you were mentioning this before about the fact that we will never be satisfied in this life. There's, some people refer to it as the ache, right? That aspect of no matter how happy you might find yourself being, in whatever circumstance you're in, right? There's always going to be this ache, this desire for something more.
I'll never be alone, I'm with you. You're closer to my heart than I knew.